Howdy guys, welcome back to BRG Photography. This is Ben, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, but I think it's going to be interesting. We're going to be doing a retouch done by me versus this photo, which has had a beauty filter applied to it, kind of like those ones you often see on Instagram and things like that. So we're going to be doing a beauty filter versus retouch, and let's see how it goes. So after the intro, we'll jump right in. Alright guys, welcome back. So this should be fun. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're doing. So this is a photo I took a while back of a friend of mine. We're doing some other photos of the house. We had the lighting set up, just kind of took some quick impromptu portraits just for fun. So I didn't actually go through and edit them. I just gave her the photos, and then she found some that she liked, put a beauty filter on, and posted to her Instagram, which that's fine, doesn't bother me at all. But I thought it'd be a really good opportunity for me to actually go back and retouch the photo properly, and we can compare it to one that has a beauty filter applied onto it. So this is the original photo, and you can actually see it's not too different outside of the major like contrast added. And luckily it's not one of those kind of crazy filters that kind of warps the face too much, or, you know, makes the eyes look bigger than they should be and stuff like that. But we can see, let's go and take a closer look at what the beauty filter is doing, and also what it's not doing. So I can see right off the bat that it did make the eyes a little bigger, which kind of seems to be a normal thing you often see in a lot of the beauty apps out here in Japan, and especially Asia. But it didn't really do too much else. Now, this major issue that I see is just the skin. I think you can look at the skin and you can see kind of how unnatural it looks. It looks kind of like they've applied some kind of like frequency separation and then just like a Gaussian blur between it, where it's keeping some of the high detail, but it's just smoothing out the skin too much. Now, her skin texture is already really nice. There's not too much like to really do, but we can see that things that we would normally correct, say, via dodging and burn, like some of these darker spots around here, under the chin, under the lip, the chin down here, maybe some of these necklines and things like that. You know, the filter can't do that, or it doesn't do that right now. We can also see that it kept some of these really high details that we would actually probably delete, like maybe the scarring right here in the forehead, these stray hairs, these flyaways and things like that. Another thing I really find interesting actually is this arm. So because we can't see it because so much contrast has been added, but you can see her arm is resting up here on the knee, and that's just causing her arm to kind of like bulge up, where when we turn this off, it looks like her arm has been liquefied in a really bad way. What I would actually do is use the liquefaction tool to actually bring this part of her arm down, just to kind of make it a nice even straight line, even though we know naturally that your arm would kind of mush up under the knee, but it's actually going to look better if we just kind of straighten it out. Another thing I might actually try to do is make the size of her shoulder a little smaller, because her shoulder is kind of really forward in a weird way. It's almost competing with like her head as far as the size. Like it's the second biggest thing in the photo, and I think our eyes naturally kind of go to this bright big shoulder. So I might actually maybe use some liquefaction to kind of actually decrease the size of the shoulder a little bit, and then using proper retouch we can preserve all the skin detail, but just kind of get rid of a few of the things that we want to just clean up and still make it look really natural. So with all that said, let's just go ahead and jump in. Now, I'll be honest and I'll tell you, I haven't even done this photo yet. So this is my first time editing it. So I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, and then I'll speed it up so we can get through this really quickly. All right, so first thing I want to do is do my cool little, where is it at? My BRG retouch suite, which if you've watched my other video, you know I've got a little macro, and boom, I've got all my cool stuff set up to do my retouching. So right off the bat, it gives me my cleanup, and I'm just going to go through with my in-painting brush and just go ahead and get rid of some of these flyaways, little marks on the skin. So things like, for example, maybe this, you know, little wrinkle here on the forehead. We'll just kind of get rid of that. And actually, you know what, let's make our brush 100% just so we can kind of keep the sharp detail. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this and speed it up, and I'll see you back in a few seconds. All right, welcome back. So you can actually see I didn't actually do too much. If I turn this off and on, it's just a few little blemishes, a few little marks, scratches. Some of the flyaways, I didn't want to try to get rid of all of them, just some of the big ones that were standing out. All right, so the next big step, which this is where I think we're going to see the most difference, is doing our dodge and burn. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my little helper layer, which is going to make it black and white with a high contrast, a curves adjustment layer. And let me actually adjust this a little bit because it's too dark, so I can't. All right, let's do something like that. So remember, the reason that we are going into black and white is it just makes it easier for us to see levels of high contrast that we want to correct with dodge and burn. So I'm going to go to my retouch dodge layer, pick a brush, make sure I have white set. Let's pick my low flow brush of 2%. And same thing, I'm going to show you really quick what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do it, and you can just kind of watch the speed up version. So I definitely want to like lighten up some of these parts here, just kind of get the skin looking a little smoother and kind of adjust some of these contrast areas. So let me go ahead and do that real quick, and I'll see you in a few seconds. Okay guys, welcome back. That took a while, but hope you could see what I was doing. So using dodge and burn, I was able to go from this is the original to this. Now it's not really too different. I just really kind of smoothed out the skin a little bit, just got rid of some of those darker areas, which I think keeps the skin looking really good, really natural. It's helpful that she already has really nice skin, so I didn't have to actually do too much work. I just spent some time to really get some of that stuff smoothed out, especially down here in the chin where you can see we've got a few like just kind of odd shadows and things like that, and we can just kind of smooth that out. Same with the neck. We kind of get rid of that dark ring around there. Now, sometimes you do have to be careful when you do this because it's really easy to kind of make the face look too flat. So for example, you can see that there is some shadow here underneath her cheekbones and around the cheekbones. Now I did kind of smoothen that out so it might make the face look a little more flat. So what I think I probably will do is just add some of that detail back in, add some of that contrast back in with our next step when we do our contouring, dodging, and burning, and we'll see how that goes. So if we look, you can actually see there is quite a lot of work. That's the dodge layer. And that's the burn layer. Usually there's always a lot more dodging being done. There's a lot of work in here to get that skin looking smooth, but still really natural, and we manage to retain all that skin detail. So now let's go ahead and move on into our, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this helpers layer, don't need it anymore. And let's move to our contouring, dodge and burn. In here, we're gonna try to add some more contrast and depth to the face by basically contouring the shadows and highlights. It brings out the more kind of three-dimensionality to the face. So using my same low flow paintbrush, starting with the dodge, which is going to be brightening things up, I'm just going to kind of go over a little bit here in the cheek, maybe up here in the forehead a bit, maybe this cheek to kind of brighten up this side of the face a little bit. Let's just go over the eyes a little bit. We'll do the eyes separately, but just for now, and down here on the chin, kind of bring some highlights there, and we can actually do a few kind of big highlights on the arm and shoulder, something like that. Looks like we're going to fix the lipstick too a little bit, but let's see what this does. So yeah, just a little bit of highlight there, and I think you're going to see the most difference when you start adding in that burn darkening. So one thing I like to do, as you know, is just kind of go over the hairline a little bit, just kind of the top of the forehead, especially down here at the part. Darken that up and just kind of darken up the edge of the face, because what that is going to do is going to kind of make the face look a little bit smaller, and it's going to draw more attention to the center of the face. Now, those cheekbones I talked about earlier, I'm going to actually bring back some of that contrast. Now that I'm controlling it, I have more control over where exactly I want it. Let's also like darken up the underneath the chin and maybe this side, and we can actually put a little shadow on this side of the nose, darken up the eyebrows. I might actually draw in a few more eyebrows just to make it look a little smoother, and you know, come over the eyes a little bit like so. Let's see, and totally off and on. So there you go. You can see we've added a little bit of highlight. Now I think that dodge is a little too much. I'm gonna actually drop that down a bit. Let's drop it down to like 70. We just do 50%. We'll drop it down to 50%. All right, and then here, yeah, I think that's okay. Maybe a little bit dark because I dropped that down to 75. And before and after, I think it looks good, looks natural. And okay, so let's do a few other things real quick. Let's just really quickly do a brand new empty layer just to pick up some things I may have missed. So like I can see there's a little like scratch or maybe lipstick here on the tooth. Just get rid of that. I'm actually gonna switch to my in-painting brush and drop the opacity down to like 40% and just go over this line one time, because I don't want to completely get rid of that wrinkle, but I just want to lighten it up a little bit. And you can see like that's all we did, is just lighten it a little bit. It's still there, but it's a little lightened, and I think it still looks natural, but we've just kind of reduced the intensity of it a little bit. And if we want, we can even go over it one more time if we want it to be even less, and it'll kind of slowly bring it back. But I think something around there still looks, actually let's do that. Still looks natural, still looks good. We're not doing, you know, crazy wrinkle removal or anything like that. All right, and so that looks fine. Some of these little spots here, so this is kind of a choice that you can make, or you can make with your model. You know, like I can tell like maybe this one is kind of covered up with makeup, so maybe she wants that one to be less visible. So maybe using the same technique, I can drop to a 40% opacity and just kind of go over that once. Kind of reduces its effect a little bit. I don't want to get rid of all the freckles or moles because I think they, you know, characterize her face, but we can kind of reduce the intensity of some of them just so they're less distracting. Maybe like even that one little there, like don't really need to see that one too much. But some of these other ones, you know, I like them. I think it looks natural, as long as they're not too distracting. You know, she may come back and say, hey, why don't you get rid of the rest of them? But, you know, that's her call. I'm going to just go ahead and do what I think looks best. And maybe even right here, we have a little highlight I'm going to just get rid of. And okay, that looks okay here. Let's see if we can fix the lipstick while we are here. Just going to do a really quick clone stamp. And let's do, 10% flow. And this is kind of just going to go over like that. That's a bit too much. Let's actually make the flow lower. Let's do 5% medium hardness. And it's just going to go over just like that. Yeah, I'm not going to try to get too detailed with it. I just want to kind of fix the edge a little bit so it does go more out toward the edge. You know, sometimes just little simple things like this is all you really need. You can spend a lot of time making them look perfect, or you can just do just enough to kind of, you know, make it look a little better. Something like that. Pretty subtle, but yeah, it does add some shape to the lips a little bit. Then we can always do, most of the time, is just kind of do a really quick like teeth fix. So what we're going to do is we're going to just increase our saturation way up, invert that, and then using a paintbrush where we can paint on everything, we're going to paint that adjustment back in. And that way, or the reason why I do this is because it's a lot easier to see where you are painting your adjustment when the color is really off the wall like this. Then of course we're going to bring it back to a more natural looking color, but this is just to help me paint my mask in, because I am inverted and I am painting with a white brush on the mask, which is revealing the weird blue color underneath. And you know, the teeth actually are pretty normal and pretty natural looking, so we don't got to do too much crazy of an adjustment here, but just to get it nice and precise. And maybe just do like that, just to kind of even out the transition there. All right, that looks fine. Let's go ahead and reset that. And then just kind of, I'm just gonna go ahead and drop the saturation down a little bit. just like that. And maybe if I want, you can even brighten them up a little bit. Usually just like 1 or 2% is more than enough, you know, like that. If you go any more than that, it just looks weird. It looks like black and white, so you don't want to do that. And then I can actually see now that I actually went into the gums by accident. So using my black brush, I'm gonna bring that back in just like so. And then let's go ahead and just do what we were at. So something around there, and that makes the teeth look pretty natural like that. Excellent. Okay, we got rid of some of that kind of redness that was like in the teeth. Fix that pretty good. Alrighty. And next we wanted to try to do something with the eyes. They're already dark because they're kind of closed. There's no catch lights in the eyes, so we're gonna have to try to like just do our best to brighten them up a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a curves adjustment layer. You just go ahead and do something really extreme like that. And then using a white low flow brush and a white, we're gonna just kind of do just around the whites and the pupils a little bit, not too much. Just kind of to brighten them up a little bit like that. If you start brightening up the whites of the eyes too much, it does look a bit phony. There's a little vein or eyelash here I want to try to get rid of. And there, okay. Alrighty, that looks fine to me. Not really too much of a difference, but you know, just pops the eyes out a little bit. And of course we can now, you know, do it more however we like. This is actually pretty dark, so let's do something like that. Okay, cool. Alrighty, and then let's compare this to the beauty filter and see what we've done. So this is my rough edit so far, and this is what the beauty filter looks like. Pretty different. I'd like to think that ours looks a bit better, so let's go ahead and just do a little bit more, and then we're gonna be done with it. We can add some more saturation into her hair. Let's do a hue saturation level. Let's go ahead and maybe even like change the color a little bit. So let's add some saturation. I'm looking at that brown kind of streak in her hair, and let's add, she had purple into it, so let's kind of add purple. Maybe she wanted it to be a little purple looking like that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and invert this layer here using a white paintbrush. This time we're gonna do just 100% flow. I'm gonna go ahead and paint this color in like so, and then I will reel in the adjustment so it looks a little more natural. Give a little character to the hair. And I know her, she's a friend of mine, so I know she often changes her hair color to like purple and like green and pink and things like that. So this actually doesn't look too out of character for her. It's a bit too harsh right now, but once we get it all painted in, then we can adjust it later. There's some back here and right around here. Okay, that looks good. All right, cool. Now we can come back to here and we can start lowering the saturation a little bit. Well, actually, so we can actually, no, it's better probably in this case just to start lowering the opacity so it doesn't change the color. So that's 50%, that's 0, maybe something kind of like around there. That's cool. At this point, it's just whatever you think looks cool. I mean, there's no rules at this point, right? So if we compare it to, oops, let's go compare it to that one. You know, I think my purple does kind of look a little more natural, I'd like to think. Let's just actually drop it a little more. Let's go 25%. How's that look? Yeah, that looks cool. Cool. Alrighty, and then maybe we can just add some basic contrast by doing a normal curves layer and just kind of brightening up a little bit and maybe just darkening a little bit like so. There we go. Alrighty, and then I'm gonna say that's cool. Let's go ahead and go to our, where am I looking at? Layer and merge visible to get a whole brand new layer here. And then I'm going to go to my Liquify, and we're going to fix that arm like I talked about. So we're just going to kind of try to bring this down. I'm going to turn these mesh off. Bring this down a little bit. Let's actually start over. I need to get a bigger brush. And just kind of bring it down. Whoops. Yeah, sometimes, you know, I mean, liquefaction, to do it right, it does take a bit of practice because you want to get it looking smooth and not kind of lumpy. It's looking a little, it looks okay. I mean, I think just for this quick video, it's going to be fine. And I also mentioned the shoulder, how I thought it was a bit too big. So let's see what happens if I just kind of start pushing, it kind of in a little bit. And maybe here, like the kind of the shoulder, the main like deltoid area. Let's see if I can do this. Just pushing it in a little bit, just so we're kind of reducing. Maybe we can bring her arm, their underarm up a little bit. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference, but I think that looks a little bit better. And I mean, of course, I think so. This is the kind of liquefaction which is, I think, is fine and justifiable. We're not completely changing her body type. We're not making her waist look smaller or her butt look bigger or something ridiculous like that. We're just looking at this piece as a piece of artwork and a balance. And I think balance-wise, her shoulder is just a little bit too big, especially since it's right next to her face. So it's kind of competing for our attention as far as what our eye's looking at. Obviously, our eyes are going to go to her face first, but I think if we can eliminate other distracting factors, it's just going to draw more attention to the face. Let's see if we can round this shoulder out a little bit. Something like that. Again, this is not a perfect one. We're trying to do this really quick so this video doesn't run on too long. But I think that looks okay. We can make this arm now look a little smaller. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say apply. That's gonna be fine. So you can see there, like that's what we did. And I think it just kind of like brings a bit more balance to that whole image. So yeah, I think this looks cool. Let's go ahead and compare this to our filtered one. So this is the beauty filter that she just put on. And this is my retouch. Now, obviously the beauty filter, now you can really see, you know, the amount of smoothing the beauty filter did where, you know, we lost all that really nice skin detail. It's just been like smoothed out into oblivion, and the added contrast has also made us lose a lot of details in the hair and things like that. So let's go ahead and just compare my edit to the original. And, you know, to be honest, I don't think it's going to be too different. So this is the after, this is the before. And this is the after, and we just kind of smoothed out and rounded out that shoulder, made the arm look a bit more natural. But, you know, this is probably a good example where I didn't actually have to do too much work. I just basically kind of smoothed out the skin a little bit. It looks like when I moved her shoulder, her chin came down. I didn't actually realize that, but it still looks okay. I didn't really mean for that to happen. Maybe I will correct that really quickly. Let's turn all these back on. And then just erase right there. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. That's kind of corrected the chin. You can see. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna say this is done. So this is my retouch versus this crazy over contrasty too smooth skin beauty filter. And yeah, I want to say that I think mine looks a bit more legit. Hope you guys feel the same way. Anyways, that's all. This is just a quick fun video. I thought it'd be interesting to do, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I guess be on the lookout for the next video coming up, where I think I'm gonna do some high-end beauty retouching. So that one should be interesting. All right. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. You know, so like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm happy to comment back when you comment to me. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.